The party's making their way through the dungeon, and they come across a treasure chest. What do? One might say it depends on the version of Dungeons and Dragons, given how lethal or non-lethal traps are. But the question I wanted to explore is this idea of building the narrative in D&D. We've talked about in a dungeon environment how many players think of the rooms as just existing, as if there's monsters or items or some sort of setup in the room, and it's just completely frozen. It's completely static. And when they enter the room, it's like it animates and comes to life, almost like a digital role-playing game where you know there's encounters throughout the dungeon, but they're waiting for you to discover them. I wanted to shift that. In the past couple of vlogs, we've been shifting this idea that the dungeon is a living system. There's things going on. If you're in combat casting lightning bolt and the sounds of battle, that's going to attract other monsters, whether it's something from a few rooms over, or maybe the DM is going to decide, look, I'm going to roll on the wandering monster chart because something is making its way over. This idea of making it a little bit more dynamic. Now, we're doing the dragon thing, we're doing the dungeon thing, but let's be honest. Maybe we're there for the glory, save the realm, serve the king, but we're there for the loot. We want that loot. We want that treasure. And when you come across a treasure chest, is there anything more iconic D&D-wise than a treasure chest? So how do we navigate it? As a DM, I do like to trap chests. I realize a chest is there either as a distraction for something else, or maybe as part of an ambush, leaving something randomly around, or for whatever reason, the chest is set up as kind of a final lock, a final ward against something important. And that could be a secure room, maybe a room that was a vault or used to store something. In the dungeon, it fell in disrepair, but that chest is still there. Or it could be something like the previous adventuring party was carrying a chest out and something happened and it's dropped now here in the room. So I don't think it's unlikely to not have a chest trapped. What kind of chest I think is going to involve in the narrative? It could be a mechanical trap. It could be a magical trap. It could be some sort of simplified trap that just releases something into the air, building that type of narrative. So I will generally trap my chests. And when I do that, I try to make a little bit of a note. Is it mechanical? Is it magical? Because yes, you might send in the thief, or you might send in the rogue, or you might send in the henchman, if it's AD&D, to open it. But the difference between smashing a chest and opening or unlocking a chest, if it's mechanical, smashing it might not cause the trap to release. If it's a magical trap, it would release. Smashing a chest versus the contents inside. Trying to figure that out, trying to navigate that. Now, let's talk about the narrative for a little bit, because a lot of players are going to assume a chest is trapped. What if we had a little bit of, do I say fun, or a little bit of narrative? If the chest was set up in such a way that, imagine you walk into a room, it's a dungeon, and over in the corner is a chest. There's nothing else in the room. Well, nothing else but 3 rather large piles of, looks like gray dust piled up next to the chest. Now you're thinking, well, ray of disintegration or some sort of trap. Maybe it was just put there by monsters. Maybe it was put there by previous adventures to guard it. Maybe that's part of the chest. Maybe that's part of the trap. There is no trap. This idea of working in other things, scorch marks on the chest, a fake trap. Maybe the treasure isn't in the chest. Maybe it's like a brick or a stone behind the wall and the chest is just there as a decoy. It's completely solid, or it has a complex mechanical lock and trap that's not trapped, that does nothing. A lot of different things in there. Another trap of mine that's favorite is just a simple like wind-up siren, like some sort of clockwork mechanic siren. You open it, that thing goes off in the dungeon. Everyone on that first level or second or third level, whatever level you're on, is going to absolutely know that. And again, this goes back into wandering monsters or bringing other monsters to attract their attention. Maybe it's a monster that, or a creature or a humanoid that hides behind a secret door. and they've got a chest there with a siren on it. Players come in, they open the chest, releases the siren, other monsters come in, eat the players, destroy the players, the loot is left there. Monster leaves, secret door opens, humanoid comes out, collects said treasure, brings it back into their room. That's sounding like a nice little setup, a nice little moneymaker for some sort of NPC. A lot of different actions and options. So we want to explore those. Trapping chests as a player, how do you deal with it? Trapping chests as a DM, what do you think about? And if we divide this up between interactive, narrative, non-lethal damage, and then, of course, lethal damage or hit point damage, the difference between the two, and how do we utilize them?